Hey y'all, I just made this quick video that because I wanted to talk about the new child banner or Tartaglia banner that includes Rosaria. And to go more in depth about Rosaria and if this banner is worth your promo gems. So right off the bat, I have to say that the banner has three very good characters, Child being one of the best AoE style DPSs in the game that functions incredibly well, but is a lot more intricate and difficult to use than other certain characters within the game. To maximize his skills and damage over time without having a Constellation 6 Tartaglia is not difficult, but does require practice and learning. So some people say that Tartaglia is not worth it unless you have a C6 Tartaglia, and I completely disagree with that. Tartaglia is an amazing unit, even at C0. He just requires a certain type of team setup and gameplay that you have to adjust for and use a little more skill and technique and to maximize his benefits. Rosaria is a very good cryo 4-star DPS, what scales on physical damage, and has good scalings off of her crit rate abilities. Fischl is a very, very good support character that offers you electro-based support, offering extra electro damage to your basic team setup, right? And Barbara, for God knows whatever reason, they just keep releasing Barbara on all these banners, and she's one of the worst 4-stars, unfortunately. Like, if you're very new in the game, she's fine. She does the healing. She'll get you by on certain content, but yeah, when it gets later in the game, it's not a character you want to run across very often. You often get very frustrated because she's very lackluster. Yet they do have her on the banner, so when it comes to the banner itself, I just want to talk about this real quickly again before I go into Rosaria with more depth. You know, if you really like Child, you really like Rosaria, and you don't have any interest in saving for other potential future characters or rerun characters, then yeah, I think it's a good banner. I think Child's a great, great unit that offers a ton of benefits, but there are a lot of other units that basically do the same thing that Child does, and so it's just like, do you like Child as a character enough to pull Child to do that role for you? Do you like Rosaria enough to pull for Rosaria to do and accomplish that role for you? Even if she's not possibly quite as strong as somebody like Ganyu, if you don't mind that, but physical damage orientated cryo spear user, then by all means. Fischl, great unit to have constellations for. Unfortunately, we just got the Barbara situation to deal with as well. Now, when it comes to Rosaria, she's a very powerful 4-star cryo spear user that's going to offer you a lot of benefits for your team. And when it comes to this trial, when I was going through and experimenting with her gameplay, skills, stats, talents, and etc., I got a better feel of how she functions, some of her benefits, some of her potential drawbacks, and how she can best set up for your teams. The first thing I wanted to mention when it comes to this trial is that they attached her with the Dragon Spine Spear. Now, in my opinion, the other spear that you can craft, the Pike, that scales on physical damage as well, but offers you the extra damage bonus when you pick up the energy particles. It's a lot more potent for her. It's probably one of her best in-slot weapons, and it scales the best with her. The 5-star spears are very good, and they'll add the extra crit damage or crit rate, which is also a big benefit to her because of certain skills and how they function with her. But if you only have a free-to-play option, I would go with the Pike over the Dragon Spine Spear. You don't really need the Dragon Spine Spear to optimize her completely compared to other spears in the game. But any spear you choose that is attack or damage orientated will do well. If you're looking for more of a support role for her, which I personally wouldn't because she's much more DPS orientated, you know, you could do the Favonius Lance, but it doesn't really make a whole lot of sense with her setup. When it comes to her talents, her C1 talent is probably her best talent overall that drastically changes her capabilities, because anytime she hits a crit rate, her attack speed and normal attack damage increase by 10% for 4 seconds. This is going to be huge for your DPS abilities, and definitely something that you're going to have a lot of benefit from. It's definitely worth having a C1 Rosaria. C2 is also a very big help because it's going to give your Rites of Termination the ult an extra 4 seconds, which is going to help you to produce more damage over time, to apply in more time, more cryo damage to enemies on the field within your area of attack for the circle when it lands onto the ground. The Wages of Sin is going to boost your talent levels by 3. The Painful Grace is very good for her energy recharge, which is really going to help her to be able to spam more of her elemental skills, which is going to give her the ability to apply cryo more often. The 5th talent is going to just raise her talent levels, which is, you know, always great too. Her 6th constellation is very, very good, especially when you're running her on a Superconduct compilation, because the Superconduct constellation will also do the physical resistance shredding. So it'll drop physical resistance by a certain percentage when you're running her on those type of compilations. So she would be great to run with Fischl when you use Oz on the field, and Oz applies Electro, and so you have Electro running with Superconduct from the cryo. It's going to cause a double physical resistance reduction. And so that's going to really help your DPS, especially because she's physical damage orientated. Now, when it comes to her artifacts, in my opinion, they put the 4-set Bloodstained Chivalry on her for this trial, but I don't really feel that this is her best in slot choice. I think you're much better off running a 2-piece Bloodstained Chivalry and a 2-piece cryo set for the extra cryo damage, because the 4-set bonus on this skill set just isn't really worth it. If you're trying to use her as a character to mix up with others that are going to be in your team, but it's definitely not a terrible choice. Personally, I think my favorite set on her is actually the cryo set, having the cryo damage plus the crit rate boosts from having characters be frozen. And then also, especially a goblet that offers you extra cryo damage bonus, I think is also a good option. When it comes to her talents, you know, I'll go over the gameplay in a minute, but we've got the basic attacks, the teleportation behind the enemies and slicing them, and this also scales with something called the Regina Probertinium, which is going to increase her crit rate by 12% for 5 seconds anytime she uses this skill. So that's very, very good. And remember, her Constellation 1 adds 10% to her attack speed and 10% to her attack damage when she hits that crit hit. The 3rd skill is the lance that she drops into the ground that offers the AoE damage over time with cryo damage and the cryo application to enemies, and so that's very good as well. She also gets a boost at certain times at nighttime, so the movement speed of your own party members jumps up by 10% when you are moving around the overworld during the hours of 1800 to 6 a.m. And the other skill set she has is very cool. It offers the crit rate boost to every character else that is nearby by 15% of Rosaria's crit rate for 10 seconds for a total of 15% extra crit rate max. So that's going to offer a lot of extra crit rate for your other teammates, which is going to help you with your overall damage output for your entire team, which is a very, very valuable skill set. If we look here at the gameplay, we see that her normal attacks are kind of slow, but very broad stroking. If we look at her normal attacks here, we can see that although it's not the quickest auto attacks of any sphere user in the game, it does have a wide range of hitting, and her elemental skill will teleport to the closest enemies and give you that cryo hit damage bonuses when you're able to hit it. And you don't have to be directly next to the opponent. You can be fairly far away and it will choose whatever opponent is closest to your range to teleport behind. So this is really, really cool because it's going to be able to close the gap in fighting very quickly. And it's just a fun gameplay style to run. Her ult is going to drop this spear and keep applying cryo damage over time and keep the opponents with that cryo effect over time for as long as that skill is running. So remember, with the Constellation 2, when that's on, it's going to offer a lot of benefits. And as we can see here as well, she did this challenge very quickly, which certain characters struggle to get this accomplished as fast. So yeah, I think she's a great character overall. Am I going to roll on this banner for her? No. That's why I'm using the trial version of her, because I'm saving up for other characters, and I can't really afford to drop on this banner when I don't really want any constellations for child. But for somebody that doesn't have child, you know, if I didn't have child and I wanted child as a unit, I would roll on this banner and hopefully try to avoid Barbara as much as possible. You might have different feelings. Totally, everybody's opinion is subjective, but that's my thoughts with this one. So let me know in the comments what you think. If you like the video, please leave a like. And if you want to subscribe to my channel for more videos in the future about Genshin Impact and other gaming content, then just leave me a follow and click the bell notifications for future video updates. And I'll catch you all in the next one. Thanks.